What's up, everybody out there in the universe listening to the Energy is Love podcast? Thank you so much. I want to say personally, from me, the host of the podcast, Craig, thank you to all of our listeners. We've got a huge listener base that keeps growing with every episode, and we can't thank you guys enough for going out and sharing and subscribing and doing all of those wonderful things. I want to thank our listeners in Virginia. We've got a huge listener base in Virginia. I don't know why, but that's super awesome. That's super cool. Thank you guys in Virginia. We got listeners up in Canada. Our listenership, our downloads, the people subscribing to the podcast is also growing across the globe. Australia, thank you, all you folks in Australia. I should probably have some fake Australian accent, but I won't embarrass myself. But thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the podcast for the universe. I have so much fun doing it. It's such a wonderful opportunity to get to speak with all of these different people, learn about their own personal experiences, their journeys, and I love being able to bring those stories to our listeners. So thank you guys for sharing and all this love. As always, go follow us on Facebook if you haven't already. Go find us on all those different social media platforms and go to energyislovepodcast.com. You can find all of our episodes available there. You can also find all the information for our sponsors of the podcast. You can also find information about me and my wonderful wife, Stephanie. So if you haven't been to the website yet, please go to the website, check it out. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our wonderful sponsor, Crystal Water Float Spa. Crystal Water is located in Tooele, Utah. It is the most ideal, perfect place to come and float. They have wonderful, wonderful energy at Crystal Water. It's a beautiful space. So if you live in the area, come hop in a tank. If you don't live in the area, still go check them out online. You can go to crystalwaterfloat.com or hop over to Facebook and check them out on Facebook as well. Maybe you're ready for your own float tank. Maybe you listen to this podcast and you're inspired by some of the float stories that we've shared and you're going to open up your own float center. Well, if you contact Crystal Water Float Spa, they are the nation's only distributor of the Dream Pod. The Dream Pod is a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful tank to float in. It's one of the absolute best tanks on the market, and now they are available here in the U.S., whereas before you had to get your Dream Pod shipped from Singapore. Now you have the opportunity to have that shipped directly here in the United States. So it's a wonderful opportunity. Find out more about the Dream Pod at dream-pod.com or go to crystalwaterfloat.com. On this episode, I sat down with Detrich Hay. If you guys tuned in to the episode for the Law of Attraction Summit that we did earlier this month, you heard a little bit from Detrich. Detrich and I met at the Law of Attraction Summit, and he's one of those guys that as soon as I met him, I knew that I wanted to have him come on and be a guest. He is incredibly powerful in his words, in his energy, in his ability to communicate essentially what he bases his entire life on, his belief system. For me to try to describe Detrich in a couple of minutes before this episode doesn't quite do him justice. He's a beautiful man, wonderful spirit, great energy. I absolutely loved the opportunity to get to chat with him. Most of the episode, I just had the benefit of sitting there and listening because everything that Detrich was talking about was incredibly powerful. So now you guys get that opportunity to sit back and listen to all the beautiful things that he talks about and shares. You can go find more about Detrich at his website. It's detrichhay.com. He's also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, all over the place. So go to the show notes. You'll find all of his links and all of his information. And undoubtedly, during this episode, there's going to be something that resonates with you. His words, his energy, like I said, they really come through. So sit back, folks, relax, turn it up, tune in, push play. I don't know who pushes play anymore, but push play and enjoy this beautiful episode of the podcast for the universe with my wonderful guest, Detrich Hay. Here we go.
You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is love.
The Energy is the Love podcast.
The Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is love.
The Energy is Love podcast.
The podcast for the universe.
The Energy is Love podcast.
Good morning, Detrich, man. How are you?
It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day out today. What is it, like November 12th?
Yes.
We're still having wonderful weather.
Yes.
That's the crazy thing about Utah, man.
It's a beautiful being here, seeing the land, seeing the mountains. That Utah, it's all about nature, getting out and enjoying the land. I came from Las Vegas, so Vegas was a very big jump from there to Utah. But coming here, feeling the beauty of the land and experiencing the beauty of the land, it makes it so worth it just to be here. People ask me back home in Illinois about, why are you still in Utah? Why are you still there? It's like, I can't explain it. You just gotta come and experience it, experience the beauty of it. Truly.
Yeah. It's a unique place. I mean, I think every place has its, wonderful aspects about it and whatnot, but Utah's just got so many. I mean,
most definitely.
You can travel for an hour in any direction and find some new landscape and some new thing, and I love it.
Yeah, and land gets you more connected into your being, more connected into your center. So it's a very spiritual place. It's a very, very, very spiritual place outside of religion, the ideology of religion, just the interconnection. And, I really love Utah. I can say that within the last 3 years for sure that I really, really love Utah and what it offers, what it brings, what the land brings to each person that experiences, whether they are aware of it or not. It is a very powerful place to experience.
How long have you been here?
Over 10 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you came from Vegas, you said?
Yeah, I moved from Las Vegas. Yeah. My ex-wife, she's from here, her parents, and so we came from Vegas to move here. And I was actually going to New York to do a music album, and it didn't. The universe rearranged my plans, So
don't you love it when that happens?
Hey, the more that I accept that, yes, I do.
Yeah.
That is my mantra now. I allow the unfolding and am centered with whatever presents itself in my experience. So yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. It was wonderful getting to meet you. I think it was last weekend when the Law of Attraction Summit went on. And
yes.
It's kind of screwy because we're sitting here, today's Saturday, so it was a week ago.
Yeah, it was a week ago.
That episode, by the time this episode airs, that episode will already be out and everything. So people have already got a little taste of you if they listen to the podcast. But I just was super excited getting to meet you because, like I said, probably over the past year or so at all those different events that go on throughout the valley and things like that, I'll see you pop up every now and then, and I've seen you in person. I've just never really met you before and anything like that. And so it was a really cool experience for me. It was neat.
Me too.
And I was super excited that, have you come on for a full episode.
Yeah.
One of the things, because it's kind of funny because my head, like I'm in the process of cutting that episode right now for the Law of Attraction one. So I already went through your portion of it and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But I have so much shit in my head that it's like I can't even remember all the things. But originally from Illinois.
Yes.
You got into your past a little bit on when I met and interviewed a little bit. But one of the things I wanted to dive into, because you mentioned just briefly your guides.
Yes.
And you have a name that you call your guides?
Aura.
Excellent. That's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Because one of the things we do with the podcast is there's so many things with spirituality and with the metaphysical and with energy work and all these different things that we kind of talk about a lot on the show. People think they're crazy. People think they're out there, right? People initially hear them sometimes, and I think they get turned off because they think it is really bizarre and strange and out there. And so I like to personalize it and kind of humanize it in a sense where you're just a normal guy. You know what I mean? You're no different than anybody else walking down the street.
I feel that we all different, but the same. We're all each individual expressions of the one's great spirit, and we all have the unique way of looking at life and projecting energy in a specific way, a specific signature that inspires everybody in some way or the other, whether it be in a very positive, high perceived way or a very low negative perceived way. It is still inspiration and it is still movement of expansion. So, my experience of aura is very beautiful. Aura has been with me since I was, a child. I can remember having this experience, but not to the degree that I have now, because I was in resistance a little bit more then than I am right now, because, I was taught. I came from a very, religious background, as I explained. Beautiful people, beautiful ideas, understanding of what it is to love, what it is to project love on the outside, but a little bit missing on projecting love on the inside. And that was the missing piece that I would be the one to bring that together and to express this new view, or this expanded view of what it is to be spiritual and aware and awakened and alive. Human has expanded beyond we're only human. That is our catchphrase for people who travel, billions and billions of light years to experience the human race. And we are not fully aware of how magnificent and beautiful and brilliant and powerful we truly are. So Aura has assisted me in becoming more aware of how to connect with that energy and how to express that or focus it with intention and determination. And what I've got out of it is just been amazing. The experiences that I get out of it. And when I sit across from somebody, or when I'm doing a reading, or I'm doing a healing or energy work, or, whatever it is, moving energy, I tell a person, this is the way me and Aura communicate back and forth. So they'll see a specific head movement or muscle tense. It's involuntary, but it is voluntary for me. It's involuntary where I'm not, it happens and it's beautiful. That's my communication with Aura. And there are some people who I'll tell that to at first, but then after that, once they see it and once they experience it, then they are on this side of the table with me. They're no longer on that side of the table. And it's a beautiful experience. And the more people that I see, I maybe on one hand can count probably most likely 3 or 4, possibly 5 people that have not been ready for what I have to express to them.
Yeah. A lot of times I think that happens initially, when I think about the way that, like the stars that have to align, the things that have to happen in the universe in order for somebody to come and sit before you in that moment, in that time, and in that space, it's a very specific thing, right?
Yes.
And very rarely is the person not ready for it. Right. But it does happen sometimes where, for whatever reason, and I think even then, because I've had that experience too, where sometimes you'll have a session with somebody, you'll give somebody a reading or something like that, and you can tell that they didn't really connect with it in the way that you would initially hope the best for them, right?
Well, my understanding now, which is different than when I first started to do readings, is the information is delivered. I'm like the pizza guy. Like, I'm going to deliver you a beautiful pizza, vegetarian, of course. I'm going to deliver you a pizza, and I'm going to walk away knowing that I gave you the package, and whatever you do with it, I honor that because I know it is your next step. Whether you take the information then or later on experiencing some more things, and then it becomes very, you can perceive it from a different shift of awareness then, and be more acceptable to your experience right then and there in that moment of whatever you needed for. It was necessary for that time. Maybe not even the time that I'm handing the package off, or I'm expressing what is coming through me. I tell a person, I am speaking your frequency coming through me in a different vibration so you can hear it from a different perspective, but it is still the same words of your soul. And if you open up your heart, you'll be able to hear the truth of the words that's being expressed to you. Not only just the words, but it's a energy vibration. And once it hits your soul, there is a download of information that you'll be able to download, and you'll be able to utilize that information to do whatever is your next step in your experience. I don't know that. But I do know that this is most definitely the time for this to happen. This is your creation. I am a cooperative component to what you've called forth, what you've created in your experience. And you are also a cooperative component to my creation, what I've called forth in my experience. So we are co-creating in this moment.
That's good stuff, man.
It's a beautiful thing.
I want to pick it apart a little bit when it comes to Aura, because I know exactly what you're talking about to a certain extent, right? I can really connect with what you're saying. I have similar understandings and beliefs and experience and whatnot with energy and stuff. But I always like to kind of not play devil's advocate, but think about the listener out there that doesn't have necessarily the same understanding of it. And so if we think about aura and she's a guide, or I shouldn't say she, does it have? No, there's no, no. And then is it a conglomeration of energy, or is it one singular? Do you think of it as like as an angel or an ascended master, or do you worry about labeling it in that way?
No, labels limit the experience of what aura is. I can say a woman, some who come to me, they say, oh, aura, she, or they say he. It depends on the lens that they are choosing to look from in that point of, of perceiving the experience with me. I expand upon aura as being a cluster of energy that can take any form, any shape, or formless, and express in multiple ways of information given to me as a gift. So there is no limit to the way aura can express to me through somebody or through something. In a regular basis of me perceiving aura, I do perceive from my perspective of, I hear voice, like your voice, I hear a voice. At times I see images like I see your image, and at times I get feelings just in my body, or it's like I open up a box, and in that box is clear knowing from bone to bone. There is nothing that anybody can say, no words that anybody can say that can hinder this knowing within this box. So there's many different ways that I've learned to open myself, open my mind, open my heart, and allow new ways to unfold for the communication that I have with aura.
So you talk about having the feeling and the sensation and the kind of looking back, being able to see where it's been present with you since you were a child. At what point in your life did you kind of really become more aware of it and start listening more and tapping in and tuning in more?
It's always been a progression from my early childhood. I would hear it in many different experiences, whether it would be with my mom or with my grandmother. Probably I would say with my grandmother more, because we are portals. We open up. And we're able to utilize each other's portal to receive information or to strengthen our own portal. So almost like your light and my light makes a brighter light, similar to that. And my grandmother, she was so in faith, in love, in her heart, knowing in her belief that we were infinite potential and we can do anything that we desire to do as long as we focus that energy and have belief. She said belief in Jesus because that was her ideology. For me, I had belief in that, in her, in that. And then I had my own experience as it was progressing with aura. I had my own experience with transitioning what she believed into what this is, and seeing the same, but just understanding her perspective was from her lens, from what her life has carved out for her experiences, the way that she sees life, and why she's choosing to see it from this point because of her being conditioned or her family member. This is the way that we've survived. This is what you need to do in order for you to be the best person specifically, And then she expressed that to me, but because I've had inner guidance and aura was leading me as this was being expressed to me, it was being broken down. I wasn't able to perceive from the perspective that I have right now because of the awareness, because of all the moments and in the experiences. But then I believed in I know I heard something within me and I felt something within me, and it was so strong and it was consistent in my experience. So when I would receive information, and if I would challenge that information, I would receive other information from within myself that would give me clarity on the information on the outside. And it was always leading to try less judgment. Honor each person as they present themselves. And I couldn't fully understand it to the way that I understand it now. So as those years went by, to answer your question, I would say about the time that me and my ex-wife, we were getting we were separating, and
I don't mean to interrupt, but you can hear that, right?
yeah, I can.
My guess is it's probably somebody's phone. Put them in airplane mode or shut them off.
Okay.
That's always been one of the weird things for me, because out of nowhere, suddenly I'll start to get all this frequency and weird stuff. And so I'm hoping that takes care of it.
Okay.
Because if not, then it's just some crazy energy that we'll have to deal with.
I always receive crazy energy. With aura, this is a normal. So I maybe I should have told you before. Even at the summit, the things were going wacky when I started to do my speech, and the camera cut out, so they didn't get video and all that on me. So it's just, again, it's about the unfolding, allow it to unfold. But when excuse me, I would say about 7 years ago, is when things really start to click for me, where I really start to understand in depth. During my separation, I went into a very deep, I'd say depression, I went into a very almost deep depression, and it was a choice brought to me. And I remember I was driving in a car, and I was really, really in pain, because my family's in Midwest, Illinois. And I had my son here, and he's my blood, and my other son, he was in Tennessee. No, he was, in California. He was in the Navy at the time. I mean, Air Force, sorry, in the Air Force. My brother's in the Navy, but he was in the Air Force at the time. And, so I was alone, and I felt alone, besides aura. So I was crying, and I was driving, and, and I said, I'm just tired of this. So I'm here. I feel this. I've had this for all these years, and I don't know what to do. It's like, and then it just came. It's like, either you gotta die or you have to live. And I heard the words so clear, you are very important to what we are doing. And, you are loved. You are needed for this. And I said, okay, I'm going to live. I said, okay, so help me then. What is my next step? And I was doing personal training at the time, and I would go into work 4:00 in the morning. I had a 5:00 class, a boot camp class, and I would set up everything, and I would sit in the middle of the gym, and I would just read information, And I got authors Eckhart Tolle, and and Abraham Hicks, and Wayne Dyer, and then I just got people bringing me books, that said, this sounds like you're always talking positive, and so I just start to receive information, and I was like, is this it? And I was receiving, yes, this is it, and which was, Aura was showing me that my understanding of my experience was the reflection that I was seeing. So I had to expand my understanding of the experience to see a different reflection. So I started to do that, and I shut off the TV, and I shut off the radio, and I stopped writing music. I started playing music. I just put everything inside, and I just started studying. I studied for a year. When I tell you I studied for a year, meaning that I just shut everything out and almost everyone out. And when I did that, everything started to expand. My understanding of aura started to expand. My understanding of me, my potential being here on earth, and all the things that I can do, and what I was limiting myself from doing, and even what I was also bringing in or offering, calling into my experience. I started to understand everything from a total different level, and then a little bit after that, a couple of years after that, I met my best friend Kevin, and she was a very big part in my movement, in me allowing myself to unfold, and the deeper connection that I had with aura. So I told Kevin that I am going to go vegetarian. I'm going to stop eating meat, and I'm a steak and potatoes guy. I was, I do hamburgers and all, and I
got a lot of questions for you. And I don't mean to cut you off. So there's a lot of things that I want to ask you about. First off, was there ever, because I think in people's spiritual journey, I mean, it's no different than any other aspect of their life, right? They come upon things and they either choose to learn more about it, dive more into it, kind of absorb it more, or they move on, or they choose some other path or some other thing. It's no different when it starts to be in the realm of spirituality and energy work and all these different types of things. But what were some of the key things that kind of jumped out in the beginning to help you in the process of kind of learning and expanding your mind? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what were some of the things that you originally kind of started to learn about or look into more and kind of dive into more?
Well, what I really wanted to do, I wanted to learn how to meditate, in a more efficient way, because I felt it was always a thought process, sitting down, quieting your mind up, it's not getting quiet enough, or I'm having too many thoughts, or am I doing it right? And my body's cramping. And, so I believe that whole process was a very pivotal point in my turning and my moving and expanding not only just my understanding of how to come in within myself, but also what is the path of least resistance and not the path of least resistance to do that. So then I got into yoga and, it's to help my body so I didn't get cramped when I'm sitting there, and then I started to understand the difference of allowing yourself to be in a meditative state and not going by a specific diagram or a specific program, because each individual, again, is an individual expression. So there's nobody that can meditate in the way that I meditate and vibrate in the way that I vibrate when I do that. So I had to learn that, myself. So I would, just like everybody else, go on the internet.
Okay, so this is kind of a funny thing. We keep having to cut and start over and recheck connections and do all sorts of stuff because there's some weird energy or vibration or frequency going on that you can hear in the equipment, in the recording equipment. And so I've kind of done everything that I can on my end. So if people continue to hear it, then we apologize. There's just a really wonderful frequency that's happening.
Most definitely it is.
Detrich vibrates high. We'll just say that. He brings something to the table. So that's a good thing.
That's a beautiful thing.
Meditation. That's one of the big things that helped me expand outside of what I was doing when it came to meditation, is I stopped trying to do some practice or some way or some concept or idea that I would learn about or read about, or really I got to a point in meditation where I felt like I was connected, where I felt like I was in the space, where not only was I receiving things, but I was open. And it's a very significant feeling that happens, I think, in that space.
Yes.
So I became aware of what that feeling was. And then I realized that I could have that feeling in a variety of circumstances and situations and experiences. It wasn't just when I was sitting calmly and, do you know what I mean, quieting my mind and all that type of stuff. There's a bunch of different opportunities.
It is, forget what you remember and remember what you have forgotten. That is the essence of us experiencing life, expanding, because we will always have a new desire that's created by this experience. We will always want more and more and more and more. But then there is an undertone to that. There's a deeper part of each and every one of us that is a direct connection to each and every one of us. So it is allowing ourselves to experience the outer realms and be inspired to the depths of the inner realms. And that's what happens with us. We are all inspired to that point from within, whether it be, I want love on the outside and I'm looking for this place and I can't find it. I'm looking in this person and I can't find it. And all those experiences, I'm saying that I want love, and I'm saying that I want me, and I want me, and I want me, because that is the only place that I can find love, truly. An inner reflection shows itself on the outside always. And the deeper that we go within ourselves, we expand to that deepest understanding on the outside. So it is necessary for us to journey within. That is the most important trip that anybody can take. That is the most beautiful place that anybody can go, because only they can go there. You can take other people in through thought, but nobody can enter your temple, your sanctuary. It is yours, and it is a very, very special place, and there's beautiful things in there. All you have to do is dare to wander there, or dare to travel or journey there. Trust that journey,
That's one of the things that recently, within my own space, because I would be practicing meditation, and I do think it's a practice. I think it's something that you have to continually keep up on and commit yourself to.
Most definitely.
but I would be, traveling to all of these places and experiencing all of these amazing things, and, in that space, getting visions, for lack of a better term. I'm sure you understand kind of what I mean, because you'll see things, you'll hear things, you'll feel things. And I was getting lost in it, in a sense, where it was like I have all this wonderful insight and information and kind of, I don't even know, access, I guess, to this higher consciousness and this level of expansiveness that exists out there in the universe. But I wasn't really doing anything with it. And I wasn't really being able to use it, I guess, to better me, in a sense, right? I was kind of stuck in that space. And so I shifted gears and I kind of changed things up, because it was the idea and the thought that I don't have to travel out into the cosmos or out into the farthest reaches of the universe, in a sense. I can go just as deep, if not deeper, all internally within my own space, within my own heart, within my own head, and, understanding me first and foremost, and all of that kind of stuff. And so it's been interesting,
Yeah, the beautiful thing is to honor yourself for each step that you take, no matter what you perceive or no matter what you believe is the right or wrong thing to do. Your unfolding is perfect in the way that it is happening, because it is for you that the unfolding is happening, nobody else, even though we share the information. But this is a solo experience. It is for everybody, a solo experience. And those who want to save and want to help others are truly, it's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful next step for them, but it is not necessary, because we all have the individual experience and we all have the individual guidance coming from within that is guiding us through navigating, us from this point to that point, this synchronicity to that rendezvous. It's beautiful the way it's unfolding, and we just have to learn to honor and love and appreciate and forgive ourselves, because that is the only relationship that is necessary for the most attention coming from us, is our own relationship with ourselves, because all other relationships are a reflection of that. That is the beautiful thing. Like you said, for your experience, like what you felt you weren't doing, or you were doing too much of, you were perfect where you were, because it was leading you to the next step. It is just your awareness of what you want for your experience that makes it unperfect or makes it out of alignment for you. When it's not truly out of alignment for you, it is the next step. And the clarity that you receive allowed you to do what you're doing now to the degree that you do what you do now, which is perfect and beautiful. And that's why you're able to touch so many people in a way that you touch so many people, because of the steps that you've taken. And that I'm just using that as an example of each and every person out there. We have these ideologies, that are very powerful and beautiful, and they help awaken a person to what's not truth for them and what is truth for them. It's about not attaching to those ideologies, and it's about the inner, connecting with the inner part and saying, okay, this is my next step. This is what I'm going to do. This is the best path for me. No matter if I don't understand it fully, I know that I will. And when you do that, you open up a new pathway or new space within your experience of life. And that space is filled by the universe with whatever energy you hold yourself to within that space.
But like, where do you struggle in that, though? Do you know what I mean? Because I think that for me, so much of everything in regards to life and everything else is simply just a practice. And so where do you personally kind of, because that in itself, kind of taking upon that belief and embracing that and really living it and breathing it and incorporating it into not just every aspect of your life, but internally, so that you shift and change your vibration into that space of real pure self-love. That takes time and that takes practice, and you have to stay in the practice of it.
Yeah.
Where does it show up kind of struggling in your space and things like that?
Well, I don't speak about my struggles, because if I do, then I affirm my struggles, and then the universe shows me more struggles. What I will say is that everything that I do is based around my progression on my path individually. So self-love comes when I'm doing something in my experience and I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have did that. I honor myself for becoming aware that there's another path. There's a path of least resistance for me to do that. And without me doing this, I wouldn't have the understanding that there is another path for me to do that. So thank you for allowing me to do this. And now I can pay attention to the next path. And that's it. And I do that with everything. And, there is always something more that, pops up in my experience, but like, I wasn't ready for that. But when I turned 44, I said, this is my New Year's resolution. My New Year's on my birthday is that I'm going to allow things to unfold in the way that they unfold. And I'm going to search or seek for the harmony in all things. And when I don't see it, I'm going to trust internally that I'm being guided on the path of least resistance. Just kick my feet up, put my hands behind my head, and take the ride downstream. So I do that with everything, and I speak that consistently, my truth, no matter what another person believes or where they are with their ideas. I don't attach to where they are. I just honor them and knowing that they're at their next step. I'm at my next step, and I'm going to continue to move in this direction. So I wear clothes that I feel good. I love purple. Everybody knows me around me. They know, or on my Facebook or, or on my website, detrichhay.com. Everybody knows, you come to any of my energy, you'll see purple because it makes I vibrate at a higher rate when I see purple. I just do. I speak words that are comfortable for me, like, meditation is comfortable for me. It is high frequency for me. Vibration is high frequency. Energy is high frequency. Love is high frequency. Appreciation, honor. All these words I speak on a consistent basis, no matter if I'm writing, blogging, or I'm writing, whatever I'm doing. I model my whole experience by the direction that I'm heading, where I want to be. And I don't detour that for anybody, no matter what they believe is right for me or wrong for me. I stay pretty steady in this. So when there is what others maybe would call a struggle, I see an opportunity instead of an obstacle, and the more that I vibrate is building momentum from the time that I get up to the time that I go to bed. And it's an everyday thing, like breathing and drinking water and eating food. It is a necessity to feed my spirit in order for me to maintain my progression, in order for me to expand to my potential, what I believe my potential is, what my understanding is, and then even expanding beyond that. So I set everything for that, the way that I speak, the way that I act, the way that I move, all of it is headed in the direction that I feel that I'm supposed to go.
Very cool. I want to get your perspective on a couple of different things.
Okay.
First off, you mentioned that you're a vegetarian and, you used to...
Pescatarian, really. Fish, I do eat fish. But
do eat fish.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of different... I'm not. I love meat.
I honor that.
But I have... In my mind, I have certain understanding of it. And I want to get your... Because when I say it's a silly thing, it's not a silly thing. It's an important thing. But, we're going to talk about it kind of in a different kind of way, I suppose. But why do you choose to not eat meat, first and foremost?
I was inspired. I was inspired to... there is a progression in my experience, and I said at a specific point of my awakening, my full awakening, that I would follow my guidance to the T of what my guidance is expressing to me, and I would trust that as I'm floating downstream. Mm-hmm. And my personal belief, I believe, is the vibration of the food, and I believe is for me to also be able to connect in a deeper way to my food, because like I have a love affair with everything pretty much, with food. I have a love affair, and it's so beautiful because I even have the people who offer me food, they have a love affair with food. They put love in food, and I taste it, and I tell them, like my best friend Kevin, she'll make, just whatever it is she's making, and no matter what it is, whether my taste buds say, oh, this is what I like and this is what I don't like, I can always taste the love in her food. And I believe that is the energy responding, because that is my affirmation to the universe. This is where I am. This is my practice. So this is what I call forth in my experience. So the universe says, okay, I'm going to put color on that. And then it sends me people, places, and things that reflect that new vibration that I am affirming to it. So it's just a beautiful game, or a beautiful play that's happening with it going back and forth. So when I said that I was going to stop that, and I told Kevin, I'm going to go vegetarian, and I really love steak, and I really love hamburger, and I love bacon, and, but now, I'm 3 years in now. So doing that, I don't crave any of those things, and I feel so much better, like building my body. I took 2 years off out of the gym, and then I got back within this last year, and my body shaped so quick from that point of me eating so clean. So, because everything is energy, everything, like these walls, these microphones, this table, me, you, everything is energy. So relating to food as being energy, all it is, it's a vibration. So there's a specific type of vibration. So I put that high vibration in my body and I connect with that high vibration. So it's helping me build a momentum on as I said, when I get up to when I go to sleep. It's a part of my whole process, because I know that the higher that I am, the more open my portal is, the more that gift, or whatever that energy is that flows through me and connects with each and every person that I express to, they feel it from there. So it's an everyday thing. It's a part of my whole experience. I think I answered your question.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I respect that, and it makes sense and everything like that. Because you hear people, and I've got 4 kids, right? And one of my daughters, she's 14, comes home and decides that she's vegetarian for a while, or for whatever reason, and so it's been fun trying to.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, it's she's cute, it's fun, but in my mind, because like you said, everything's energy, right?
Yes.
And I believe the same thing, where it's not just the table, it's not just the microphones, the walls, the space in the air between us, you and me. Everything is energy.
Yes.
And so when I think about animals, obviously animals are energetic beings. They have power and strength and energy behind them. I think they have a soul. I think they have all of that. But I think plants do too.
Mm-hmm.
I think plants are made up of the same stuff that I'm made up of.
Everything has consciousness. This has consciousness,
And
everything.
so for me, it's like one of the things I don't like about eating meat, and that I wish I could change personally for myself and in my own space, is the way that we typically get meat in this society, and the way that we, do you know what I mean? Even all of our foods, really, the way that they're processed and produced and all that type of stuff. That's a bunch of negative energy.
The law of attraction says that like is drawn unto itself. So nobody can create for you. So you can call forth whatever you need to nourish yourself in the vibration that you desire to have. You just can't offer resistance to that request. So because the law of attraction says like is drawn unto itself, if you vibrate in that frequency, then you and your family will get the best meats. It'll come to you, the meats that's been blessed, or you'll find an outlet in order for you to buy meat from that outlet, and that'll be the best meat for you. It goes back to believing in your creative power. Like, there is no limit to our power here. The only limit that we have is that what we believe in thought, for momentum of thought, and that be conditioned belief coming from generation to generation to generation. When you break down those beliefs, a belief is just a thought you keep thinking that you have that has momentum, and you've been entertaining it, then you've taken it upon yourself, and then the law of attraction is active right then and there, and it brings the reflection of that belief. So you just have to honor yourself from that perspective, see how powerful you are, and see if the law of attraction is really true and in the way that you believe it's true, and call forth clean meat, or meat with higher vibration that's been honored. Because I do believe that there is energy sources or energy centers here that is manifested in the physical sense, that come for specific, we call them destiny, or specific things to do. So there are animals that come here knowing that their body will be given to human. Then spirit will go back to the system and then be rebooted and come back and manifest in whatever way. So there is a system that is happening with each and every person. And some people see that system in a regular basis, like how we do on every day. Again, it's just about tuning yourself to the specifics of that system. And then we can talk about, you feed your body the radio, whatever the radio says. If you're not calling forth a specific radio station that aligns you in the center of your being, that, when they play music, or there's a talk radio or podcast or whatever the case may be, and you're listening to it, you want to make sure that you're feeding your body in the direction that you want to go. Whatever direction that is, feed yourself that, and the higher you are, the broader your connection, the broader your understanding, the broader your connection, the deeper your connection, not just the deeper your connection within yourself, but then you have deeper connections on the outside of yourself. And that's where really unconditional love comes from, because you have to go within the depths of your soul to see that this person on the other side of you is doing exactly what you are trying to do, or you are doing. They're figuring it out as they go on. There are no mistakes. There's just clarifying moments. There's opportunities and more opportunities and more options and more options. And why would I want you to do something different than what you've been spoken to from the center of your being? And why would I see that this is a clarifying moment for you? And even if you don't learn it and you come back around to the spiral of deeper truths and deeper truths, I know that you'll get there. I have faith and honor in you, because I know that you are the only one in the universe and existence itself that sees life in the way that you do, and express the energy that you do. So we are all benefiting from the choices that you are making, even if some believe that it's a mistake that you're doing, or some believe that you're sinning, or some believe that you are not the best person that you can be. All of that is looking through different lenses, but not seeing you. So that's unconditional love. I'm honoring you. And I wouldn't get there if I didn't go to the depths of me. I have to go to the depths of me in order for me to see that.
Oh my goodness. You're a heavy guy. In a good way, though. Do you know what I mean? It's a good way. I'm sitting here and the words that you're speaking and the things that you're sharing and everything like that, it's heavy. And that's a good thing. That's the type of stuff that I like. I really benefit from and I enjoy. And so I'm glad that I had you come be on the podcast.
I appreciate that.
Tell me your thoughts, and this is maybe silly or not, but what do you think is the purpose or reason behind the experience that we're experiencing now?
Are you speaking individually, me and you, or are you talking about just in what's happening out there?
More or less like
world?
The purpose behind life in regards to why we come into this experience of these human forms on this planet, all that kind of stuff.
My belief is that each of us have come here to Earth to expand, to have fun, to reach the potential, and then go beyond that potential. Life is just about learning. It's options. It's making choices. It is understanding the truth of what it is. It's like sitting here with a new car. You have a new car and you have open road. Why wouldn't you get in the car and you take that open road and you test the car? You know, the desire that you have that's implemented in your DNA is curiosity. It is enthusiasm. It is excitement. That is our being. That is the center of our life force. You know, it is only judgment that limits that or hinders that or depresses that. Everything is, you know, it's high frequency. It is, let's get out and let's test it and let's see what we can do with it. And I wholeheartedly see a core of energy and umbilical cords going out and connecting in everywhere into everything, and all the information that's being experienced here is being sent back to that core, and each of those elements that are connected with the umbilical cord, so that core has access to that information. Is just for each individual to figure out that they have that internal connection, and once they reach that, they can access all that information and experience the life that they truly desire to experience. It's like this life is made to be fun. It's made to be exciting. But it also, there is value in it being, you know, there's suffering. There's value in suffering. There's more content, more presence, experience through the suffering, because if it wasn't, then we would have just stayed where we were. You know, we wouldn't have to experience. We wouldn't, you know, why not come here and experience both sides to get the gist of what it is to be in this human third dimensional, you know, experience, this body. You know, it's all exciting. It's just the understanding of what it is to be human has been skewed over the years, beautifully though. And, you know, and I say beautifully because there's learning happening as we skew, as we kind of veer away from the truth of our being, because we are more likely to believe what somebody else believes in about us instead of searching that internal connection and then seeing the truth of our being, what's being fed to us, what's being joyfully inspired through us, you know? So and so during that path of walking or of the movement of the progression, those moments are very valuable to a person getting more depth and releasing, cracking the egg or cracking the shell and letting the flakes break off so you can see what's in the true center of the being. And this experience does that in many different ways. very powerful experience.
It is a powerful experience. You said before you did personal training beforehand, and if we were to rewind, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, did you ever think that you would get to a point in life where this is kind of what you're doing and how you're existing and how you're moving?
Yeah, I'm like a baby, just learning how to talk. That's what I feel like. My potential is infinite, and I've been called forth to do some very beautiful things, and I've seen some very painful things, but those painful things was very important for my perspective that I hold now and the love that I have for each and every person without them doing anything for it. The way that I see life is I'm an individual, and I know when I express to people and they say, wow, your love is big and I don't think I can get there. And I say, well, you're already there if you can see my love, because I'm a reflection of you. There's no difference from me to you, but just your thought and idea of your own image that you continue to build upon that being your truth. But when you expand beyond that and see yourself as being the ultimate image of all things walking around you, you expand to each of those things. So, I see myself as, I'm in first grade or kindergarten. There is more, and there's more, and there's more. And I'm eternally joyful, happy to move in that direction, because I get to clarify and reclarify and reclarify and reclarify and experience, and I don't have to suffer anymore. It's a choice. And I understand that it's a choice to suffer. It's a choice to hold myself in a frequency out of alignment with my true self, feeling less than instead of feeling all of. That is exciting to me. That drives me every day to get up and to tell Kevin about my day, and, tell, the people that I have close, Christy about my day, and Demarion about my day. And, I get excited about what's ahead for me. And I believe that what's ahead for me has already happened. It's just waiting for me to get there.
Do you think it has already happened? Because I think about that sometimes too, where for me, in my own personal space, when I don't know why I'm struggling to speak. I think everything is now. I think everything is in the present. I don't think there's a future. I don't think there's a past.
No.
And so in my mindset, it's like I not necessarily have a hard time, but I don't think that everything is predetermined or predestined in a sense where we're going to move through life and we're going to experience a certain amount of things and whatnot. I think that because everything happens in the moment, in the instant, who knows what's going to happen, right? Who knows where our path's going to take us, where we're going to be headed to and led to. So the things that you're going to do, because this is the other thing, you said, the things that you're going to do, the things that you're going to achieve, the spaces that you're going to be is kind of already there. You just have to move into it to a certain extent.
Yes.
So I believe that to a certain extent, right? I think that the universe as a whole kind of can see the bigger picture and see where we are headed, even though, I don't know, man, I get lost in it.
In my belief, there is a linear line, and then there's a linear line, and a linear line, and then there's a line that crosses this way, that crosses this way, and this crosses this way, and there's a line that goes up this way, and a line that goes down this way. And I think all of these lines are connections that we all have, and we are all on all of these lines happening all right now. And I believe that we can access any of these lines to perceive any predetermined experience or any pathways that are created up there. But I believe they're all lead to the same destination point. And I believe we have a choice to make, and no matter what choice we make, we either travel the path of suffering or we travel the path of joy. And we will always get there. I do believe that we have connection of infinite understanding and infinite knowing. So I do believe that you can see your future if you put effort, focus, determination, and intention behind it. And it has to be an everyday thing for you to be able to access that information. But you can access that information. I do believe that we are infinite beings. There is no limit. Our body regenerates itself. The only reason why we allow things to happen is because we believe in what somebody else believes, or we believe in what the universe has unfolded. And a lot of times we are looking from somebody else's truth. somebody else's understanding of their experience. And we take stock in that understanding of their experience, and we add it to our information, and we send that information out to the universe, and the universe can't step outside of our creative essence. So we are responsible for the energy that we give, because it will most definitely be reflected back to us. So our body can heal itself. We can live as long as we desire to live, because the body will continue to keep regenerating. I believe we can even go the opposite way if we choose to, or we desire to. We just haven't accessed that point in ourselves, because again, we're still coming to the point of seeing ourselves as just one. Duality is a very believable system, and everybody buys into this duality because it is what we've seen on the outside, and we have validation from billions and billions of people who say that this is the way it is, until you start to become your own individual expression and trust what you're feeling and hearing within yourself. The universe will unfold in your life something very magical and powerful that nobody else can see but you. But it'll be so powerful for you that you will bring everybody else into your reality. And that's what we all do.
So if you take that concept and that idea that, billions of people believe a certain thing or believe a certain way, and we'll use Christianity, we'll use religion for, for a very, very long time on this planet. And not just in regards to Christianity, there's obviously tons of other religions, but so many people believe this certain thing, which then inform, in turn, their energy is going out there into the universe with that belief behind it, with that energy behind it. Mm-hmm. Maybe the possible, because I think that we create our own reality. I think that, mm-hmm. Your belief system is right, mine's right. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. The universe is big enough to hold enough space for everybody to believe, mm-hmm. or what they believe to be right, even if they're really out there, even if they're really bizarre, right? I allow enough space for everything to be possible. And so what if it's a matter of billions of people over, thousands of years creating God, mm-hmm. which then, in some sense of the word, takes shape and form, mm-hmm. and truly exists in the realm of spirituality and Christianity and religion. Mm-hmm. And now, because enough people are starting to shift and change out of that belief system because of all the ways that man kind of tainted it, in a sense, mm-hmm. right? I think at the pure form of religion as a whole, mm-hmm. it's love, it's just beauty, it's just acceptance of, yourself and mm-hmm. the person next to you. But what if enough people are starting to shift out of that to where now we get to create a new conglomeration or consciousness of, a common belief, even though that common belief may not be so singular in a sense? Because that's one of the things I love about spirituality, right? It's a label, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what we call it, but it's really inclusive. It's not exclusive. Right. So my belief system, even though it mirrors yours in a sense, and there's common themes and whatnot, mm-hmm. there's still things that are different, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't have to say, well, mine's right over yours. Right. Your system of belief is okay for you, but you're missing some key points. Right. Religion does that. Right. Yeah. Where they can respect each other to a certain extent, but at the end of the day,
their belief is this is the true.
Yeah. I've got the 6 more pieces that make it more concrete and real than yours.
Yeah, which is beautiful for their perspective and their expansion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it has served a purpose on the planet, for humanity, for society, for the consciousness of everything that exists, whatever the case may be. But I think that is evolving. I think that's changing.
Yeah, I agree. The experience of a person's perspective is within this dream or within this TV show, within this TV program that's happening here. But there's somebody observing the TV program who's only affected by it if they choose to be affected by it. So there is a system on the outside that is not truly affected by it, especially if it is a higher knowing, a higher belief system. So for me, what a person's project in this TV program that we're all experiencing is beautiful for their experience, because they're on their own path, and it is necessary for them to believe or to be where they are. I wholeheartedly believe that it's not hurting anybody or anything that they're believing what they're believing for their experience. I believe because we all have choices. And if the law of attraction is true, then if a person holds themselves to their own beliefs, that is not offering any resistance to what is their pure belief, as long as they're not attaching to somebody else's belief, then whatever somebody else is doing, it can't hinder their experience. It is against the law. It doesn't match up. So I believe that what you believe, if I honor you, what you believe, and know that it is your next step and have unconditional love for you, I can affirm what I want to the universe, and what you do does not affect me in my own personal path and what I'm doing. And even if it shows itself, my energy bubble is so far out that you have to transmute in order to come into my energy unless you can't make it in there. So it doesn't matter what you do. It's irrelevant to my path and my truth. But I can still honor you and send that love out, because I am an example of that love now. And anybody who wants to follow that, or who wants to adapt to that, or take that upon themselves and try to utilize that in their own system, it's there for them. Beautiful. If they like to try it, and they don't have to. Nobody needs to be saved here on earth. Everybody have their own system. Everything is perfect in the way that it's unfolding, even though there are things that we can say can be improved upon. But there's a broader harmony happening here beyond everybody's perspective of the way that they're seeing it. There's beautiful change happening right now. There are beautiful people that are raising up little kids to experience the depths of their soul, to reflect the beauty of their soul. You know, there's so many things that we can look at right now that are beautiful in this world. There are things, we say ingest, and there are things that can change, but I believe that they are changing, and they will continue to change. There has to be destruction before there can be construction. And the destruction is a beautiful process just as much as the construction is.
Well, do you think that in the destruction of things, or in the negative things of life, the things that may not be so positive, when we look at them from the outside, do you think that they serve a purpose, over the history of time? Or,
yes.
Do you think that they have been in place for a certain reason or rhyme?
Yes.
For a purpose?
Yes.
And now that purpose is changing? Because I'm sitting here listening to you, right? And you're talking beautiful words, a lot of positive energy, a lot of things in regards to not just love and things like that. But at the end of it, like you're talking about it, it's like, this is your belief, and you've taken it within your heart, and it's changed your life.
Yes.
Where it has evolved in such a way to where, you're living and breathing, and you're seeing the world around you in such a different way.
Yes.
And I think that that's incredibly important. And I think that that's kind of key when you're on that journey of self-discovery and, really truly learning how to love yourself.
Most definitely.
But then I'm sitting there thinking about the people out there that are really stuck, that are really experiencing something in their life, time and time again. And it's so hard in the depths of some things to really see positivity.
It is 100%. And what I would say to them, because I've been there and I've experienced those types of things where one thing after another, and I'm like, why am I here? I'm done. And trusting inside yourself is the only pathway. Understanding you is the only pathway. And, there is some truth in the law of attraction, because those who don't believe in it don't see it, but they do see it. They experience it every day. They just don't see any example of it, because that is what they are vibrating. So if you trust in the law of attraction, or if you know anything about the law of attraction, the experience that you are having is a reflection of your perspective of your experience. So to change your perspective of your experience is not an outer thing, it's an inner thing. It's important for the inner journey. And to project yourself on the outside, I have clients who are mothers, some on the end of children, 18, graduating, going off to college. What do I do now? Mm-hmm. Now you get the opportunity to experience life. What do you like to do? I don't know what I like to do. Yes, that's the fun part of it. Now what you can do is you can figure out what you like, write it down, and make an appointment with yourself to do more of that. So now you can vibrate at a specific rate for yourself. You can start to nurture you, because that is the pathway to your life opening up for you in a broad way.
That is the pathway for you to see how powerful you are in this experience, and for you to expand beyond what you believed or the condition of thought that you've been entertaining year after year after year after year. Now it's time for you to expand to your greatest potential, for you to see you, how beautiful you are, and how much opportunity it is out there, no matter what you choose to do for yourself. The fun part is figuring that out if you don't know. If a person knows and there's other things out there, sometimes that person has a limited view, has a tunnel vision, and they're missing out on other things. But if you don't know, then there's a plethora, there's a Thanksgiving table of things that you can experience, that you can taste this and taste this and taste this. And, you have all these opportunities. You can put this on your plate and that on your plate. And, oh, I don't like that, but thank you. If I didn't taste it, I didn't know I didn't like it. Now I can taste this, and now I can taste this. There's just so much opportunity, and if I could say anything to anybody is, I believe in you. I don't know you from your physical understanding of your experience, but I know you internally, because I've searched that part of me for so long. And anytime that I come across somebody, when I'm doing Reiki, or I'm doing, energy healings, or I'm reading tarot or oracle, I connect inside of a person, and I feel the depths of them, and I download information, and I'm able to tell them about themselves when I shouldn't know, like I've been with them all their experience. And there's a reason why that I can do that. It's because I have worked at this. I have set my intentions, and I choose unconditional love. It's a choice. I've come from my mother, being a drug dealer and then rehabilitating herself and coming out of that. But I was a child experiencing that, and her doing what she was doing. I experienced pain, and, but out of all of that, it inspired me to me. It inspired me to my guides, and to trust that, and to open up to that. So even if, no matter what you believe, even if it's religion, even if it's God or Jesus or Heavenly Father, it's still a beautiful awareness. And if you follow your faith, trust in you, and search for that inner part of you that is deeper connected to your faith. And I guarantee if you do that, it's going to open up other pathways for you, where you'll start to question some of the things that you've been taught. And even in the questioning some of the things that you've been taught, it's the beautiful awakening that's happening within you. So the joy of that awakening will overtake the attachment of you feel like you've lost years or you've lost time because you believed in this system. You'll have more appreciation for that system, and you will allow it to be just that first step or that second step or that third step. But you are progressing. You are ascending to the next level of your awareness. You're shifting to a brand new you, an understanding of you. And not only that, that is the way that you see the beauty of this world. Because if you don't go there, you can't see the depths of this world and how beautiful it is truly. You have to travel there.
Like I said, man, this is heavy stuff. It's good though. It's good stuff. I could probably sit and talk to you or listen to you for for a very, very long time, because you bring up a lot of things inside of me. Good things for me to kind of ponder, think about, sit with, dwell on, so it's just neat. It's a really neat thing. Trying to think if there's, because I've got stupid questions and I don't want to waste your time with stupid questions. Not that any question is stupid, right? If we look at it that way, but, typically when you work with somebody, what do you find? Because I think this happens a lot of times too, where when you get into the space of energy work and healing and, doing these type of things, a lot of times you'll start to get common things that jump out with people, where you'll continually seem that, I tend to work with people a lot in regards to this aspect of life or this or that, or do you know what I mean?
Yes.
What are some of those things that you've seen over the years and over the time where it seems like you typically, because I think at the end of the day, everybody has the capacity to do energy work, for lack of a better term, yes. Right? Yeah. But in that space, I think we have a speciality. I think we have speciality. I think we have a unique thing that is us, that we're really, really good at.
Yes.
And we tend to attract those people that need that yes. We can help, to their greatest and highest good.
One of the things that I've learned, I would like to, excuse me, if it's okay, I'd like to speak to the healers.
Absolutely.
Okay. one of the things that I've learned is that by switching my frequency, I was calling specific people to my experience to assist in their journey, in their path. So I would, if I'm experiencing this in my life at this time, then I get this group of people coming forth for readings, energy healings, or, just spiritual guidance. Mm-hmm. When I shift my energy and make another choice of this is what I want to do, then I start to attract this group of people coming toward me. One thing that I found out is that I was vibrating at a specific rate, calling that specific rate to assist because I was vibrating that specific rate, which made me a professional at that specific rate, whatever I was experiencing. And I find that whoever I was sitting across, they were experiencing something similar to me or close to that, where I can give them guidance of this is what I've done. This is what, or I'm just going from the cards and turn them over. This is what I see in the cards and this is what they're saying. And I'm getting beautiful understanding from the cards for myself as well as for them, because we are vibrating the same, which the law of attraction is automatically active in that point. So for myself, I start to adjust and start to ask myself in every moment, okay, Detrich, what do you want from this experience? Okay, I've experienced this experience. What did I learn from this experience? Okay, is there any movement that you want, or do you want to continue to go down this path? So I start to make those choices for the direction that I wanted to travel. And I would affirm what I wanted, where I wanted to be, and then work to vibrate there and hold that vibration, build momentum. And then those people would show up, whether it be somebody recommended, or they got my number off of this, or they went to my website, or they are on Facebook and they heard somebody else speak about me doing a reading, whatever the case may be. But I was starting to attract that like energy toward me. So the law of attraction was working, and it's always working on all levels of that, of my experience. So I started to speak specifically in who I wanted to assist, and I wanted to speak with a lot more people who were aware of at least their awakening, or aware of there's something happening with them. They don't have to be in full acceptance of it, but just aware of it. And then I start to affirm I want this type of clientele and this type of clientele. And I'm saying I am open to all coming toward me, but me setting my frequency, I only start to attract this specific clientele coming in. So my whole experience again is modeled after that. Wherever I'm vibrating at, I know who I have coming in. I'll go and sit down and I'll watch TV, and then I'll be asked to go up into the room that I have my cards at, and I'll feel 2 or 3 decks, and I'll grab those 2 or 3 decks, and I'll come and sit back down and put them in front of me, and I'll get calls or text messages saying I want a reading, and it's one of those 3 decks that I'm going to use. That is how my experience is expanding. And I expect that. That's not unexpected. That's not, oh, wow, guess what happened? It's like, no, it's the next step. It is the next step. And it's beautiful. And I know that it was going to happen, and I felt it before it happened. So there's a part of me that is already there, that has already experienced that. And that's why I say to you, we have that knowing. Forget what you remember and remember what you forgot. And it's the knowing back. We have that deeper knowing, that deeper expanded out understanding of the process. And I believe even the connections of this dimension to this dimension to this dimension, where we're experiencing it all at once and accessing all the information at once, and can access that information. Even if you're stepping into the next step has already happened, because you've already accessed that information. So when you get there, you are fully open to the experience, and that person, whoever's co-creating with you, they experience something phenomenal. You already knew it was going to be that way. We have the capacity to experience that with each and every client that comes into our experience. It is only your awareness of where you are that holds you to where you are. It limits you from experiencing beyond your beliefs, and also modeling that or mirroring that to somebody else, for they be able to see that. Because some people that come and sit down in front of us, they would say, well, I don't know anything about this. I just was recommended from this person and I just wanted to come here and sit down. But once you go through that, and if you're open to yourself and you're open to the infinite potential of your own being, and even the infinite potential of their being who's sitting across from you, instead of saying that I need to heal them, I need to make their sickness better, because then you're holding yourself within the confines of what it is to be sick, and you're only able to access that small bit of power there. But if they're already healed and you only have to bring them to the awareness that they're already healed, then you have so much more movement and room to work in that energy field. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense, man. I want to give you the opportunity, because this has been a wonderful episode. Thank you so much once again for coming out.
Most definitely. Thank you.
Tons of information and tons of things for people to think about, right? Hopefully people walk away from listening to this episode and and that's one of the things I like doing with the podcast, is the thought that somebody out there in the universe, somebody out there across the world, something's going to spark inside their mind and they're going to take the information and run with it. Right. So hopefully that's happened. I kind of have no doubt that that's happened, but make it simple, because at the end of the day, there's so many things, there's so many aspects, there's so much, not just information, but things to get lost in your own head of thinking and meditating and opening yourself up to all of these wonderful things that exist in the universe. But make it simple for people. Like if you could, like a parting word or something like that, if you're going to give somebody something that's just really easy and simple for them to hold on to in the wonderful journey of life.
Okay. Honor and love you.
That's good.
honor and love you. It will open up your world in many different ways than it has already. And even if you have honored and loved yourself, then do more of it consistently. Build a momentum on an everyday basis from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, and watch how your world transforms for you. And then you'll see more happiness than sadness. You'll see more thriving than suffering here on earth. It'll change your world, and you'll be the change in the world that you want to see. And that's how we all change this experience that we're all having.
Beautiful. So it's detrichhay.com. Best way for people to reach out and contact you?
Yes, detrichhay.com.
Facebook and all that good stuff as well.
And my sites are connected through detrichhay.com, so you can go to my Facebook and my Twitter and Instagram, and all of that is on there.
Excellent, man.
I appreciate you, Craig. Thank you for doing what you do. I see the value in you. I saw the value in you when we met finally, like face to face. Say, hey, how you doing? I see the value in what you do, and I honor what you do. And I know I have friends who have been on your show, and they honor you. So I appreciate what this is. And also, for those of you who got the buzzing in the beginning, I honor that, because that is the spirit talking to me, or talking to us, letting us know how hot this this podcast session is. So you got a chance to listen to that. So you've been blessed like we've been blessed,
That was a cool part. Yeah, it was neat. But thank you again, man. And
most definitely.
Everybody go out and have a beautiful, wonderful day.
Forget what you remember and remember what you have forgotten. There are no mistakes. There's just clarifying moments. There's opportunities. Your unfolding is perfect in the way that it is happening, because it is for you. I'm going to search or seek for the harmony in all things. And when I don't see it, I'm going to trust internally that I'm being guided on the path of least resistance.